Good afternoon, everyone. Would everyone around come up and where you can hear? You might need to let your ears catch up after that. What a great job. Thank you again to Kingsbury Artillery and the Liberty Live group of Southern Campaign. Thanks so much for their help. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Smitty Cooler, and I'm serving as the chairman of the Jasper County 250 Committee. It's great to see you and a pleasure to be here today for the rededication of the tomb of Thomas Heyward Jr., an Old House Plantation National Register site. As a birthplace and final resting place of the sign of the Declaration of Independence and Founding Father, this is indeed a special place. And again, thank you for coming. At this time, I'd like to introduce our South Carolina 250 Commission Chairman, retired General William Grimsley.
Thank you, Smitty, and thank you to everybody for being out here. Who would have thought a year ago, when the commission had the opportunity, the honor to listen to Jasper County Committee come and whoa! Okay, we need to sign him up immediately for football or baseball. Nice catch. Yeah, a year ago when they came in front of the commission with a request for a grant, with a spectacular presentation to be able to refurbish this beautiful site of an iconic leader of our American Revolution and one of the leaders that led to our independence, who could have imagined that it would look like this just a small 12 months later? Well, certainly the hard-working people of Jasper County Committee would know that, but all the volunteers that have come together, the local leadership, the citizens of this area and other parts of the state that have come together to preserve this site and to continue to grow and develop it into being this beautiful, amazing place, to recognize the patriotism, valor, sacrifice, and service of Thomas Heyward Jr., his family, and the extended family of the Heywards who still live around here. I live in Beaufort, who live in all this area and continue to represent the best of us, the best of this nation, certainly the best of this state. So thanks to everybody for doing this. We as the commission have a responsibility charged by the General Assembly in our state to remind everybody in the rest of the United States that the war may have started in April in 1775 in Massachusetts, that Cornwallis may have surrendered in Virginia. He was only in Virginia because he lost in Carolina. He was chased out of it, and the revolution was won right here in South Carolina, the decisive theater in the Southern campaign that led to our nation's independence, and that continues to shine as a beacon today as we continue to celebrate and commemorate this amazing republic, the great American experiment, about to be on its 250th birthday. So thanks to all y'all who are part of this. What you do every day is extraordinarily important. There is no better state in the Union to live, and certainly no better part of this state than down here in the beautiful Low Country. So thank you, Jasper County.
Linda, are you ready to introduce? Okay, come on up. Some leg, ankle issues, so I'm watching you, okay?
Yep. Again, thank everyone for coming today. My name is Linda Tnarowitz, and I am a proud member of the Jasper County 250 Committee and of the Emily Geiger chapter, National Daughters of the American Revolution. And it is my honor to introduce our incoming chapter regent. Please welcome Heidi Heron.
Thank you, Linda. We'd like to acknowledge the William G. Pomeroy Foundation for their generous support. Thanks to their commitment and vision, this National Historical Site now has a National Register sign and 3 interpretive signs that celebrate not only our nation's history, but our local history. These markers are more than just signs, they are storytellers. They remind us of where we came from, who we are, and the legacy we pass on to future generations. To date, the Pomeroy Foundation has funded over 2,600 historical markers across the United States, leaving a powerful imprint of remembrance and pride in our nation's communities. The Foundation's tagline is "History for Life." This truly captures the spirit of their work, for when we preserve history, we give life to the past, which shapes our identity and inspires our future. Once again, thank you to the William G. Pomeroy Foundation for their extraordinary generosity, their belief in the power of history, and their unwavering support in helping us celebrate ours.
All right, at this time I want to talk a minute about our strategic plan, what's going on, but I'm not going to get into a long dissertation on what we have ahead of us. I'd like to talk a little more about what's been done. First of all, thank you to all the folks that were parking and welcoming and all that today to make this work. So many dedicated people from local volunteers, SAR, DAR, what a great help. We'll get into that more a little bit later. But right now, when you look around you, you're in the middle of a work in progress, as you can see. If you haven't been here in a while, you realize what's happened. We didn't get to finish everything. Procurement process is slow, but it's necessary but slow, okay? To our folks who are here from representing Hardyville, the town of Ridgeland, rather, in Jasper County, they well know that. But let's talk a minute about what's happening here at Phase 1. We have a site plan. Now the site plan is blowing around here somewhere, but we had it on charts for you to look at because we wanted to see there's still things to be done. Some of you have already asked. Over here there'll be a kiosk, there'll be a trail wrapping around the property. We're in the middle of putting in water and power, okay? So all these little necessaries are being underway. It just takes time. And you have to do certain things in order, like building a house. Some things have to be done before other things can be done. And that slows things down, obviously. So we pushed hard to get to this date. We didn't quite get there, but we're going to continue on, obviously, and keep pushing. So some of the things you can see, though, is you can see our 3 new interpretive signs, 2 in front of the cemetery, and then 1 over here to our right overlooking the marsh. And then we'll continue to build those, particularly on this side, as we actually fully figure out this site. Okay? If you're involved with the archaeological dig, you know there's a lot more to be done here, as you'll hear about in detail in just a minute. But again, seeing other things, a lot of work has been done cleaning it up. Beautiful spot. All these people, some people have asked us, did you plant the palmetto trees? No, they just had a chance now to be seen. They were covered up with undergrowth and so forth. So we want to continue that process, but keeping a place in top condition is tough. Okay, it really is. And we want to try to raise this to another level as a park, as a place for people to come and enjoy in a variety of ways, not simply just, history and the recognition of our founding father, Thomas Heyward. But again, we look forward afterwards to walking around with you. We'll still have a lot of daylight. Hopefully the weather continues to be permissible. We want to show you that are interested in where we had excavations, where we have other things we've done. And I want you to take a look at the site plan and you get a feel for what's yet to be done just in Phase 1. Obviously the marsh behind us, the site of a very unusual, ahead of its day, rice mill and operations. That's a whole nother phase behind us, okay? Incredible amount of work to be done there to continue to develop the site. All right, so lots going on, lots to be done, and we'll get into that a little more as we go through the program. But ahead of us, again, I can't say enough about various ones of you that do so much to try to educate our youth. That's why I got into this. I realized raising 2 sons and teaching school many years ago and so forth that, our country is progressively, in my opinion alone, has become deficient in the education of our founding. Okay, and particularly people don't realize what's happened, as General Grimsley said a while ago, how much South Carolina played a critical role in that, how important that is. For many years I've looked at marvel with this site. Many of you may have come here on field trips. Many of you have been out here because you're descended from Thomas Heyward. And for just a moment, before I move on, I'd like for all the members of the Heyward family that are here, descendants of Thomas Heyward, to please stand, okay? Thank you very much. Thanks for coming and supporting this. We'll be sending you a financial gifting request in the mail soon. There's a lot of you. Nevertheless, again, thank you so much for the support of the councils, their leadership, the ones that are representing these various ones tonight. They've really been the ones that had the, you know, I'm so disappointed tonight that Kim was not able, Kim Burgess, who's the county fiscal agent. She has put up with me tirelessly paying bills, dealing with this procurement process. She has pushed so hard because I think she believed in the project, and I told her to come back and get her own personal tour. And I'm glad those of you are here today, like Councilman Kemp and Mr. Fulgham and Mayor Harry and so forth, and who also know are closet historians, if not out in the open. And John Kemp, by the way, our new council chairman, he has been a member of this 250 committee since day one and always very supportive. But again, so many to thank, and we'll go into that, but on the back of your program, you'll see a lot of those folks. And SAR, DAR, and in particular our local chapters, I can't say enough. They've been doing education in a big way for a long time. And we hope to catch up with them out here. Like we've spent 2 days, I'm kind of tired. Kathy's kind of tired. We've been out here for 2 days with these groups trying to educate kids interactively. Because that's the best way to learn, right? And it was, you know, we learned a lot ourselves about how to run these programs, and we hope to do it again and become a national or semi-annual event, particularly focused on the young people, okay? And we're glad so many are here tonight. I think we have a great cross-section of the county and some outside the area, of course. But with no further ado, let me stop talking, and we can interrupt, and if there's anything important I missed about the plans for the site. But I think it's pretty evident. I think if you'll take time to look at the strategic plan map and our strategic plan itself, we have copies circulating around tonight, I think you'll be enthused, and there may be things that you're interested in, that you want to be a part of. And you'll get a chance to make that official at the end of the program. All right, where's Ms. Rita Elliott of the Lamar Institute? Here she is. All right, almost need a drum roll. We don't have a drum, but anyway, for the unveiling of the artifacts from our October dig.
Thank you, Smitty. Hello. Boy, I should have brought a kite today, right? Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to return here to this particular site and to Jasper County. I don't have the privilege to live here, unfortunately, but I sure do enjoy visiting. And it's such a beautiful place, and you have so much wonderful things in the county. Hold it dear, because there are other places that aren't like this. So it's a pleasure to come back here to the site for many reasons. First of all, we've made lots of friends here, and I treasure that. Second of all, y'all have an amazing group of people. I've worked on sites in the Southeast, around the country, and around the world, and I haven't seen the level of commitment that is shown here in this county for this site and for historic preservation, so it's quite refreshing. And the third reason I like to come back here is because you have an incredible site you're sitting on top of right now. It's amazing. It's a rare gem. It's a rare gem for two reasons. It's protected. Somebody had the wherewithal years ago to protect the site, and you continue to protect it today, which is wonderful and very unusual. Also, it's a rare gem because it's a multifaceted site, just like a gemstone. There are many different facets to the site, many different levels. The site has Euro-American, African-American, Native American components. It's got 18th century, 19th century components. It's got Revolutionary War components, Civil War components. It's got early industry. It's got agricultural practices. It's got commerce. It's got domestic life. It has it all. This site we're sitting on top of has everything, and it's an amazing, amazing resource you have here. So as you walk across the site today, I'd like you to think about what's beneath your feet. Beneath your feet is a unique story that we only know a little bitty piece of right now. Beneath your feet, each square foot below ground is equivalent to a page of history. Archaeology has and can continue to uncover and interpret these pages, and each page can be combined to create a new chapter about the past and a new understanding of what happened here beneath our feet so many years ago. In everyone's story, the Heyward story, the African Americans who lived here, the Native Americans who lived here many years before them. So there's a lot of stories to uncover here that we don't understand yet, but we will if we keep working at it. So if each square foot underground is equal to 1 page of the story, then the artifacts are the words to that story. And when those artifacts are excavated archaeologically and their locations are known and recorded, those words can be made into sentences if they're put in the right order. If they're just dug up randomly, we don't know what the sentences say. But each of those artifacts represent words in the story, and can tell the account of those who lived here, worked here, played here, and died here for centuries before us. In that story, the little couple of pages we learned from that story on our archaeology in 2024 will be forthcoming in a report by the end of this month. I'm saying it here in public. And it'll be made available for anybody that wants to read it or download it. So, without further ado, now we need the drum roll. The Lamar Institute presents the 2024 Old House Plantation Archaeology Collection of 2,215 artifacts to the Jasper County 250th Committee. Thank you.
Rita, these boxes are empty.
They were going to be, but they actually have lots of artifacts in them. So. Thank you. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. All right. You didn't think you were going to get to see any of them, did you? Okay. Rita, can we show some of them? No? No, and I'm just saying, we do have a surprise for you in a minute on the film, but we're going to pick out some special ones. But in all seriousness, we have them. The problem we have, I want to explain, and we'll try to share those with you. We can share them afterwards if we have to. But I don't want, she is a serious professional, so I don't mess with her. I follow what she tells me because she does it right, and that's always to be admired. But what we have, we'll see some special artifacts in a few minutes in our documentary film presentation. But there are lots of specials. Each one of us have our opinions, but there's a cross-section of things that were more interesting than other things. But it's the whole idea behind this, which I had to learn. The interpretation is a word that, to me, interpretation means you learn how to, speak another language, or someone. Interpretation to an archaeologist or historian means telling the story from the evidence and so forth. And so these help tell the story here and give the site even more credibility than it had before. Okay, and now obviously we want to continue to commission digs here as we go forward. So again, we'll feature certain ones. But Rita, I want to ask you, in your opinion, which you'll tell us in a minute, if it's not one mentioned on the film, what was your favorite finding?
Now, I know we've got, raise your hand if you help volunteer on the site with us. I know we've got some wonderful volunteers out there doing, you'll never get this back, right? We got some wonderful volunteers that came out and worked with us, and they were a huge help, and we appreciate them all. And I bet every volunteer has their own favorite artifact. But we had so many, and Smitty, you can speak to some of the ones we found. But, we found silver coins. We found a brooch from the DAR that somebody else, Jim, or you should tell that story because they took it and ran with that. But honestly and truly, some of my favorite artifacts aren't the things that are worth something because you can sell them for lots of money, because we're not allowed to sell artifacts, or because they're shiny or silver or whatever. My favorite artifacts are the ones that tell us the most about people. So one of the interesting things we uncovered, just in the grassy area right before you get to the trees in the corner of the lawn over there, was a place that African Americans were living in. We think we found perhaps the quarters they were living in possibly where they were working. But the really cool thing about that is we know that because they have some wonderful pottery called Kelowna ware. And it's not fancy, doesn't have glaze or paint on it, it's just brown. Sometimes it's smoothed off, sometimes there's a little scratch of a decoration in it or something. But it is so cool because they made that and they use that there. So we know exactly where they were working. I mean, they're working all through here, but we know exactly probably where they were living. So that's cool. That's what artifacts are all about. It's what they can tell us about people's lives here. Every person. I don't care who they were. We want to know about them all. So these boxes tell us something, and we're bringing all the information we can out of them for the report. But the coolest thing is, as a collection, these artifacts will stay together, and we know exactly where they came from, and they're labeled and bagged, so that 5 years from now, 50 years from now, 5,000 years from now, somebody can come along and study these collections, use new technology, figure out all kind of new stuff, use our data and say, that Rita Elliott was an idiot. She missed this whole thing, you know? So they can continue to learn from what we excavate archaeologically. So that's the beauty of these collections.
And we'll see more on that in a minute. Thank you, Rita. Let me make a quick plug while we have, again, great representation. Let's put some pressure on our community government leaders here for a minute. As you can see, the problem we have is we had a dig done in 1965 by the Charleston Museum here, 1995, 96, which is Core Foundation, the one I remember, and then of course October of last year. We have no place to display those things right now for people to see. So what we need in the county is an interpretive center. I know that sounds like a tall order, but that's exactly what we're after. We fully believe this committee fully is committed to bringing in cultural tourism, but we have to have something for them to see, including sites like this. We have to have something to bring them to. As a matter of fact, our next expenditure is going to be on billboards on I-95 and other places to start to bring people here. But we're still, you know, it's obviously a lot of work. And we have other sites. We're focused on this site today, but we have Coosahatchee and we have Purysburg. So we have a theme that runs through the county as a result of the Augustine Prevost invasion marching through the county in those days, present-day Jasper County, which creates a great cultural tourism theme that we can follow and develop. But again, this is what we're after. We need a place to display all these artifacts in the county. That will be a great attraction, I think, and obviously a great asset for the current citizens of Jasper County. But that, again, is expensive, and that takes a lot of commitment from a lot of parties. But we'll work in that direction. Now, also, we have the 65 and 95 digs. We want to bring them in together with these, which will be properly curated. That's also important. You can't just stuff them in a box and forget about them, put them down in a hole. What we have to do is like these. They're going to be curated at Georgia Southern University. We've already toured the site to make sure it's what we wanted. It's actually rather inexpensive, the whole process, compared to what I thought it would be. And we wanted them properly store them till such time as we have a place to display them on behalf of Jasper County citizens, the city of Hardeeville and the town of Ridgeland. Okay? So if you get a chance to talk to your leadership or do something to support that effort, please do so, and remember that, because right now that's what we need in this county. All right, I'll stop that commercial and I'll move on. And again, moving on now to intermission. All right, so please take a minute. I'd like to get some food, restroom break, and so forth, and then we'll come back. But as you leave, let me say this. It's always hard to do thank yous because people get left out, right? Again, I'm going to leave somebody out that's critical, and I apologize in advance. But we do thank so many people in so many ways. But I don't want to get too caught up in that tonight because we have a lot to do. And there's so many of you willing to make that effort. So right now, if you want to take a break, Jim, if you'll give us some music. We have Jim McGall on the dulcimer, hammer dulcimer tonight, a colonial period instrument, and we're so grateful he came over from Savannah. Okay, thank you. We'll be back with you in just a minute. Guests, friends, please come on over. We'll pick up where we left off, please.
It's fine. It's not
While you're coming over, would Mr. Mike Tyler come walk over this way? And Heather Hawkins, would you stand, please? Yes, Heather, I'm going to put you on the spot. You've already met Mr. Will Grimsley, our commission chairman at the state level. But we also have right behind you this small gentleman walking up, Mike Tyler. He is our site advisor for the state. He came down, took his own time to drive down to help us advise us on this site, as did Heather early on. Not only this site, but Coosawhatchee and so forth. They've been a great help. Heather's one of these ones that Kathy and I particularly drive her crazy. I know. We send her email, we call her, all this. And she's such a help. She's always so patient. And of course, Mike, as I said, is on the road, willing to come down. He's been to some of our local committee meetings even. So that's their job, is to help us understand the process, to advise us on what we should pursue and not. And of course, Heather is just an expert. So I always ask them, well, if we're going to do this grant, are you going to approve it or not? And they said, we can't tell you that. We can just tell you what we think about what you're trying to do, what we try to get some inside information. But in all seriousness, they have been tremendous. But they're these support, larger group of commission. They're the many ones that make this happen and move along. Okay, we're so happy for them. Let's have a round of applause for the commission. And just remember, in 2018, the South Carolina Legislature commissioned a proper observation of the 250th sesquicentennial commemoration of the American Revolution. And so that will run all the way into several more years, particularly in the county. This is what I want to remind you. So I want to make before I get to the next things on the program, a couple of commercials, since these blew away a while ago. This is our cultural tourism theme. You can't see this. We're going to have it posted out here afterwards, hopefully. But this is the trail. These are our sites marked that we want to bring tourists to. Of course, we want to all our local folks, friends and neighbors, to know where these sites are, to know about them, and of course encourage folks to visit as well. Word of mouth is powerful, and we need more promotion from that standpoint. So this, if you take a look at this is in our brochures, our websites, and so forth, marking these areas. And we want to develop this map larger as we flesh out this whole cultural tourism theme. All right, and also, as I mentioned a while ago, we have the site plan. This is kind of like house plans, right? You follow it, we try to follow it. And so there's several things on here left to be done, such as a large information kiosk over toward the center, walking trail, benches, further interpretive signage to explain other aspects of the site, and so forth. Eventually we'll develop a boardwalk and system into the marsh, and that will be what we call phase 2 and even phase 3 at this point. Well, if we can get this to stand up in the wind, please take a look at it. It's well marked, but this is the plan we're working under. So sometimes you may come out here and it may not seem like we have a plan, but we do, and we're working at it. Okay. All right, this time, have a bit of special recognition. We'll move into more thank yous and special recognition, which I think is important, but again, we always tend to leave someone out. If the wind didn't blow away my prepared remarks, those who are here, the descendants and family of Mr. Harry Kula Sr., would you please stand for just a moment and bear with me? Please stand. Where's Rusty? Okay. Hillary, you'll stand, please. No one on this side? Okay, we have a few, thankfully, that came tonight. The property around you is by fate and by chance. Here comes Debbie. Okay, just remain standing, Debbie. You can eat in a minute. Is that everyone? Okay. These folks have been very special to me because they had to trust us a little bit out here. And obviously this is their home place, their home area. And they have been so supportive and so encouraging. Now, I'm not sure if they've said, when I couldn't hear them about what we're doing, but they certainly said lots of nice things in person. And in all seriousness, just thank you for your support. Just stand for just a minute, because we're going to honor you with a plaque, your family, later. But in early 1965, Mr. Harry Kula Sr. selected what seemed to be an ideal spot for a new house, right over here to your left, okay? And what a spot it is. It had a little rise and close to the marsh, so that there was only a beautiful view, not only a beautiful view, but rather a good breeze. As he began to clear the lot, bulldozing off vegetation and attempting to level the ground, he discovered and encountered what must have been lots of dense brick, chunks of stone, and a number of relatively large shards of ceramics and glass. The site he chose was virtually the same identical site that Daniel Heyward had chosen for his house over 220 years earlier. Probably with the very similar reasoning, right? With very similar reasoning. What a spot. Rather than continue on, thankfully he stopped the work and contacted Ms. Pauline Webble, the area's most knowledgeable historical advocate at the time. She in turn contacted the director of the Charleston Museum, and from there she sent a new employee, an archaeologist, to survey the site. Harry Kula nevertheless changed his plans to build a new house. And a bit of background. In 1930, Harry Kula Sr. purchased Old House from a Florida man for $3,500. And when he died in 1968, he passed the property to his sons. And by the way, fam, if I get this wrong, please correct me, okay? All right. One of those sons was Harry Kula Jr., who gave the Heyward Foundation an option to purchase the land we are standing on today, essentially. The option was exercised in 1973, and then later in 1980, the Heyward Foundation sold the 3+ acre high ground parcel in almost 10 acres of marsh to Jasper County. I've had that question so many times. On behalf of all concerned, I'd like to thank you, Harry Kula family, for your contributions to the survival and security of this site and your current support for its improvement and well-being. Because of you, it's been in pristine condition, and we have the ability to do so much more with it. And again, as I said earlier, we plan to place a bronze plaque on the site to recognize the Harry Kula family. It's on our list. We're just working our way to it. Okay? Thank you very much. To Mr. Mike Williams and company would come over and collect this microphone. I'm going to bring it to you. Mike's going to talk about something, along with the help of his other ones that help support him on this, a liberty tree. A liberty tree is very important in our history, and this is a little unique, what Mike's been able to do. And Mike, I said, we came up with the idea, and I said, Mike, I don't have time. You're going to have to see it through to the end. Get it done, see it through, and he did. I did a marvelous job. Mike, please take it away.
Thank you. This Liberty Tree project would not be possible if we didn't have sponsors and contributors that made this project possible. So I want to thank these sponsors and contributors now. Trevor Cleland of Cleland Building Solutions fabricated or made this footer for the Liberty Tree stone that we have here, and he donated his time and all the materials. Southern Palmetto ordered this 10-foot Southern live oak tree for us and planted it for us. Emil Decker, who is a SAR compatriot, with sticks and stones, made our Liberty tree stone, which you'll see in just a little bit. SAR compatriot John Holmberg designed it. And 3 groups, the SAR Thomas Heyward Jr. chapter, the DAR Emily Geiger chapter, and the Jasper County 250 committee were all contributors. So what we'd like to do just very quickly is to give you a little brief history in case you don't remember all the facts of the Liberty Tree, and Heidi is going to share those with us.
The Liberty Tree, dating back to 1646, was a famous elm tree that stood in Boston, near the Boston Common, in the years before the American Revolution. In 1765, colonists in Boston staged the first act of defiance against the British government at the tree. The tree became a rally point for the growing resistance to the rule of Britain over the American colonies. In 1775, the British took control of Boston, burned the elm tree. In 1776, the colonists took back control of Boston, placing a pole in the Liberty Tree's place, and the ground surrounding it became known as the Liberty Hall. The Liberty Tree is the most important symbol of freedom we can enjoy in America.
Today we all remember the Liberty Tree. As part of the Liberty Tree Project, whose goal is to plant 250 Liberty trees throughout our country by next year's 250th anniversary celebration, we will now dedicate this Liberty Tree. the first Liberty tree to be planted in South Carolina. In honor of the United States of America 250th anniversary, the Sons of the American Revolution Thomas Heyward Jr. Chapter, the Daughters of the American Revolution Emily Geiger Chapter, and the Jasper 250 Committee, we dedicate this Southern Live Oak on May the 3rd, 2025. May God bless the United States of America.
All right, good, okay. Okay, thank you again, Mike, and so unique for us to be the first one in the state, and thank you for his efforts. There's so many details when you do something like that, as many of you know, having worked on various projects. All right. Kathy, it's time. With no further ado, our premier event, the Jasper County 250, South Carolina 250 documentary film. Sit back and I hope you enjoy it.
I'm gonna stand down here. I'll fall off the stairs. Sorry, I'll fall off the stairs. My dress is a little long. I just want to take a moment and thank Smitty and Linda. They have been the best people to work with, hard workers. We get it done, we enjoy it. It's a passion project, a labor of love for us. So I appreciate these guys. I couldn't ask for better partners in this project. The filming, I want to introduce Rob Schenk. If you'll come up here, please. Rob is from Wide Awake Films. We contracted with them. Thank you. Thank you. You far exceeded our expectations. It came out fantastic. And I want to thank Tony. Come on up. So Tony plays the younger Thomas Heyward in the film. Our older Thomas Heyward, Larry, I don't see him, no. I guess he didn't come, but thank you guys. It was such a pleasure. For 2 days I got to spend with Rob, 1 day filming with Tony and another day with Rita. It was spectacular to watch all of the different steps that they took and then to see the final product. It was like, wow. So I appreciate you guys. We came in just a little tiny bit under budget, so we want to give you a little gift. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay, we're going to start the film now. I hope you guys enjoy it. There's nothing better out there right now, and I can't wait to work with these guys again on another film. Go ahead. Thank you, sir.
We know the story of the Declaration of Independence with the benefit of 200 years hindsight. It is the story of determined individuals who created a mighty nation founded upon treasured ideals. But at the time, 56 men knew only that their pursuit of liberty also meant they were committing treason and sedition against their ruler, King George III. That while confident in the righteousness of their cause, they understood they were risking all they had, including their very lives. And for every man like Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson, there are others whose lives and legacies are less well known, who waited in line for their turn to sign and had a lot of time to think about the choice they were about to make. Thomas Heyward Jr. had much to consider. He was one of the wealthiest men there. He had studied law in England, and his father was loyal to the British king. Declare independence from the mother country. I dare say that if you did such a foolhardy thing, you would likely hang for it." Did these words of warning from a concerned father still ring in his ears? Did he really believe that these fractious colonies could unite as one against a powerful king, wholly determined to retain his American colonies? The debate is over, and now it's Thomas Jr.'s turn to place his name on this document. This declaration of America's independence. There is no turning back now. Heyward's ancestors had lived in South Carolina for generations. His father was born there, and so was he, on July 28, 1746. His world was the family plantation in St. Luke's Parish, at the heart of which was the family home, Old House. His father, Colonel Daniel Heyward, had amassed 15,000 acres of land, and like many low-country planters, he had enslaved Africans who worked the land, growing rice which enriched the Heyward clan. Thomas Jr. was fascinated with plants and agriculture. He studied every aspect of the operations of the plantation, hoping one day to assume charge of the family business. While Daniel Heyward did hope that his son would carry on the operation of the family's plantations, first, it was more important that Thomas receive a first-rate education to study law in London. Heyward proved to be a capable student and was accepted to the English bar in 1770. But as an American from the colonies, he was looked down upon by his British peers. He instead returned to South Carolina, where he married and began to practice law in Charleston, just as tensions between colonists and the British Empire were reaching crisis levels. South Carolina was particularly divided by the growing push for independence. Those loyal to the British Crown and those who supported independence were equal in number. Daniel Heyward was reluctant to back the Patriot cause. Thomas grew more determined to fight for it. His Utah neighborhood was one of the more patriotic-minded regions, feeding Thomas's opposition to British rule. Given his outspoken opposition to Britain, Heyward was elected to the General Assembly of South Carolina and helped draft the colony's new constitution, making South Carolina the second American colony to draft its own governing document. In 1775, Heyward was then elected as one of South Carolina's delegates to the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia. At just 30 years of age, Thomas is one of the youngest delegates in attendance. After participating in the lively debates, Thomas voted with the others to declare independence on July 2, 1776. Declaring one's independence was a historic step, but clearly, America was going to have to fight to secure its freedom. Heyward was ready to do his part in the coming battles. Already elected as a captain of artillery in the Charlestown Battalion of Artillery, Heyward rejoined his unit after returning from Philadelphia. In December of 1778, British forces swiftly captured Savannah, Georgia, looking to build a new base of support in the South. The Revolutionary War, which had largely been fought in the North, was now on his family's doorstep. In February of 1779, Captain Heyward and the Charlestown Battalion of Artillery were hustled into position to oppose a British force that had recently landed on Port Royal Island. Under the overall command of Brigadier General William Moultrie, Heyward's artillery was positioned to bombard the nearby Redcoats. Amidst shot and shell, Heyward's 6-pounders coolly fired upon the British regulars and damaged their one cannon. Somewhere during this sharp battle, Heyward was wounded in the arm. Despite their victory at Port Royal Island, the British threat remained. And on April 29th of 1779, a large force of Redcoats under the command of Brigadier General Augustine Prevost marched from Savannah towards Charleston. Marching near Heyward's Old House home, British soldiers raided the family's cornfields and threatened their property. Thomas's father, with the support of 2 of his overseers, drove off these looters. But the soldiers returned with a full company of men and regained their advantage. In April of 1780, Heyward and his artillerymen found themselves once more on the front lines, this time in front of Charleston itself. Positioned within the hornwork, the city's most formidable defensive position, Heyward's guns were vital to holding back the advancing British forces. Heyward and his 26 men were under constant fire as the British lobbed mortar shells at the American position. After being battered by the British for weeks on end, General Benjamin Lincoln, Heyward's commanding officer, surrendered to General Henry Clinton and the British Army on May 12, 1780. Heyward and 6,000 fellow American soldiers were now prisoners of war. Despite being allowed by the terms of the surrender to live in his Charleston townhouse, Heyward was dragged from his home by British redcoats on the evening of August 27, 1780, and sent to St. Augustine, Florida. Heyward and 2 other signers of the Declaration of Independence, Arthur Middleton and Edward Rutledge, joined other prominent patriots for the uncomfortable trip south. Elizabeth Heyward kept up the fight at home, refusing a British order to illuminate her Charleston home as a sign of support for the British victory at the 1781 Battle of Guilford Courthouse. Heyward's residence was pelted with garbage and rocks by angry loyalists in town. Elizabeth continued her resolute defiance in the face of British pressure. Meanwhile, Heyward, along with several of his compatriots, reworked the lyrics of the British national anthem, God Save the King, into God Save the 13 States. The familiar tune was sung with gusto by the captive Americans. In July of 1781, Heyward and the other Americans were released and exchanged by the British. Sent to Philadelphia, Heyward nearly drowned after accidentally falling overboard on the voyage. With America now an independent nation, Heyward returned to South Carolina. He oversaw the development of his stately Whitehall home and plantation, just across the Uhaw Creek from his boyhood home at Old House. In 1786, he married Elizabeth Savage. Despite his intent to stay at Whitehall, Heyward remained active on the political scene. He was an ardent supporter of the new federal Constitution and was a member of the state convention that ratified the document in 1788. In 1791, President George Washington stayed in Thomas's Charleston home during his visit to the city, and subsequently also stayed at Thomas's Whitehall plantation during his journey to Savannah. Thomas passed away at his Whitehall home on April 17, 1809, at the age of 62. His life was one filled with selfless service and commitment to his new nation. And today, he can rightfully be seen as a true founding father of both the state of South Carolina and the United States of America. Heyward was buried in the family cemetery, not far from the Old House home where he was born. Today, you can still visit his grave and the small cemetery near the creeks he used to wander along as a young man. Thanks to the efforts of the Jasper County 250th and South Carolina 250th Commissions, there are new efforts underway to better understand the Heyward's Old House home and Thomas Heyward Jr.'s powerful legacy. Building off of earlier archaeological explorations conducted in 1965, a new study is underway at the Old House site. Archaeologists Dan and Rita Elliott of the Lamar Institute have been exploring the Old House landscape using the latest technology.
We brought some new technology to the sites that included a controlled metal detector survey, looking for any evidence of a battlefield or encampments from the Revolutionary War. We also conducted a ground-penetrating radar survey, which looks for features underground. And then we also excavated 4 test units, sampling specific areas that had potential to offer more information.
The metal detector survey immediately told us that this place is crawling with metal. We looked for the concentrations, tried to map those in.
So the controlled metal detector survey that archaeologists do, and we did, maps in every single artifact and its location on the landscape. So that allows us to make incredible maps of where things are coming from, which lets us tell the story of what happened where across the site. But we were able to excavate 4 test units in areas where the ground penetrating radar suggested there might be things, and also in areas where the metal detecting survey showed concentrations of specific artifact types. Basically, it's like uncovering a window into what's going on at the site at that particular location over time.
There's enough archaeological resources out there to keep multiple archaeologists happy for several decades digging.
It's been detected over the years, metal detected over the years, but there's still a lot of information present there underground. We're excited to have found evidence of a range of people using the site, and that includes the Heyward family and the wealthier folks. We also found evidence of African American presence on the site. We found distinctive kind of pottery that they're making and using.
The artifacts recovered by the metal detector survey range from around 1740, which is when the plantation really cranks up, on up until probably the latest diagnostic artifact was a Daughters of the American Revolution membership badge with a gold, platinum, and a diamond in the middle. And it was engraved with the lady's name on the back, and we were able to research her and learn that she probably dropped it around 1976, probably around the bicentennial celebration at Thomas Heyward's grave. That's our working theory right now.
Dan and I were really excited to work with a lot of students from the area, from different schools and groups. And they're always a lot of fun because when they come out, they don't have a whole lot of information about archaeology or knowledge about archaeology. So we were able to incorporate the archaeological site into a round robin where they could actually do some hands-on things, touch artifacts from 200-something years ago, and think about the past in a different way than they could looking at textbooks in their classroom. So now we're in our archaeology lab, middle ground lab here, and wanted to show you some of the more interesting things we found on the site. Here's an example of some of the ceramics in one of the levels of one of our test units. So what's interesting to me about this is we've got a couple of different kinds of ceramics. We've got this wonderful yellow trailed slipware, got some great Delftware from the 1740s, 1750s. And as you notice, they're fancy. This would have been on the dinner table of the Heywards. Right next to it, we have pottery that isn't fancy. There's no glaze on it. It's just real utilitarian pottery. We know this is colonial-ware pottery, and colonial-ware is a specific kind of pottery made and used by African Americans. And it also says these are the people doing the work. They're the people cooking the food, serving the Heywards in these fancy dishes that go on the table. So it's a nice juxtaposition that's just shown here on these kinds of ceramics that we've excavated.
This is a silver spoon. It's broken and been ground off on the end here, so it could still be used as a spoon. We find these on Civil War sites quite frequently where the soldiers are trying to travel light and not carry a whole lot of stuff in their knapsacks, and they'll take a spoon and whack off the end of it and use it as an eating utensil. So that's my theory. A soldier left it here. Gives us some great information on the back. There's a maker's mark. So thanks to Google, we found this in the field, and within minutes, maybe a minute, Rita discovered that this spoon was made from 1852 to 1855. So it's miraculously, datable to within a 3-year span or so.
So another interesting artifact we found at the Old House Plantation was this kevel. This is pointing out to the maritime component of the site. And this kevel would have been either mounted on a vessel or mounted on a dock. And we're getting in the area where there was a ramp going into the marsh, had docks and a lot of maritime activity. So this would have been mounted, say this is the piece of wood of the dock, like this, and the bolts would have gone through the wood. You can still see a bolt right here. And then When you go to moor your vessel, you would get the rope and wrap it around in a figure 8. So this would help tie your boat to the dock so it wouldn't go away. And we know that based on the size of this, it likely would have held a vessel of 30 to 40 feet long. So this would probably be, a vessel being used to unload and load up different goods and being shipped by the Heywards, like rice and things like that.
Another interesting artifact that we found is this small silver coin. It's got King Charles on the front and the date 1773. And on the back, it's got a coat of arms. And the back tells us that it's made in Mexico City. And this was legal tender in the United States until the 1850s. So it doesn't mean that there were Spanish people there. This has got a hole through it, you can see. It's probably worn around the neck or other part of the human body as a little talisman or good luck charm. So it's legal tender, it's silver.
This is an interesting artifact, interesting in a different way from all of our other interesting artifacts. But this is a padlock, and it's almost complete. So it's iron, wrought iron, made by a locksmith, and then it's got a brass escutcheon around here, and it's in pretty good shape. The cool thing about padlocks are they're diagnostic. So by the shape, we can pretty much date this to probably about late 18th, early 19th century. But also what it tells us is they're locking something up, right? So there's something valuable here, whether it's a chest full of sugar or silver. So it shows, again, it points to the Heywards' status that they have valuables worthy of locking up. We hope you've enjoyed this look at some of the artifacts that we found at Old House Plantation. Of course, there are a lot more than what we've showed you, but if you would like to learn more about it, we encourage you to go to the Jasper250.com website, where that information will be put up when we have the report ready for you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for watching and listening, and we look forward to having you come visit. Keep up with us on our website at Jasper250.com. We'll continue to add and build as we do things at the site. A lot to be done here. We thank the State Commission for their grant money, and as well as our 3 governments here in Jasper County, originally in the town of Hardyville, who've helped us continue to find funding to build this site. There'll be subsequent phases, lots of details. So we look forward to you coming back, keeping up with us, and stopping by and seeing us.
Isn't that awesome? You know, behind every good man, there is a great woman. So I want to introduce our Elizabeth Heyward, Miss Karen Bloom. And we have a little gift for you. Elizabeth Heyward was a feisty woman, and Karen fit that perfectly. It couldn't have been any better. Thank you so much for helping us. Okay, here you go.
Thank you very much. I know the Bible says be careful with pride, but I was proud of that, Rob. I really was. I was proud of this, all of you. Proud of how that turned out. What a special sight. I'm falling over myself here, but I'm kind of a big crybaby sometimes, but it really brings emotions. What we are as Americans, what we've been done for us, the sacrifices that have been made, and here we are today. We'll say more about that, but just with no further ado, they're passing around a little flyer to you that asks for your help. Now, a lot of you in the audience are already helping, supporting in a variety of ways, and what we need is a further thrust. So if you can bear with me and have patience for just a minute, we're almost to the end. And on this list, it talks about the commitment. It simply says at the top, would you be interested rather in supporting the Tomb of Thomas Heyward Old House Plantation site with any of the, or all the above initiatives that are listed below? As I said, some of you, so what I'd ask you to do This is entirely up to you. We're not going to check you at the door or anything, of course. But there's a variety of categories I put down where you could possibly help. Okay, and if none of the first ones appeal to you, there always is the last one, financial support. Okay, which we'll have in all seriousness be coming out with later, because it does take. There's a lot of the state, obviously, counties, accommodations tax. A lot of that has been great funding sources, but we have to look at this more long term. This area has to be sustained long term. We can do all these wonderful things. If we're not careful, we're just going to watch it die away again. So many people many years ago took care of this site, and that happened as well. So if you get this card, wouldn't mind writing in, please especially put your email address, because we want you to keep up with it. If you're not looking at the website, we're going to have a kind of a newsletter that goes out, communications as things develop. We want to keep in contact with you. I know some of you don't live near here, so it's harder for you to help out. We're going to sort of rework the Jasper County 250 committee participants here soon as we start to plan a second phase, and we'd love to have you join us if you have not been able to do so or have not been aware of it, and so forth and so on. So if you would just take a minute, we have pens and pencils that are being passed around. Again, thank you for your patience in doing this. And again, I can't say enough about all the supporters that are here today, but if you might be a teacher, you might be someone who is good with children and likes to educate in a variety of ways. You might have more patience, in other words, than the average person. Secondly, you might be someone that is creative, that likes to market and get the word out. There are so many things gifts that various ones of us have that others don't. So I think we'd like to see that. If you put any value on this site, and in this area we call the Utah District, that was once the most ardently patriotic area certainly in the areas, and some historians have said, even the 13 colonies, which is a strong statement, we want to make sure we not only focus on this site, but the whole county and beyond, because it is a special place. Thank you again. How are we coming with those cards? Again, take the patience. Got one more thing, and then we're going to exit. We're going to end the program and head out. But again, let's have a round of applause for this film. Rob, what a great job. Rob and I are talking about outside of, I think we're going to make a movie, and he said, well, I don't think you can't be in the movie, but maybe we can talk about making one or something, But so I didn't get very far. But it was a lot of fun just being close to a production like that being made, and all the effort, details going into it to get it right. All right, how are we doing on the cards? Everybody think we have one? Please take a look at it. Any way you can help, or we want to be in contact with you. We want to use your gifts focused toward this site. I think it's worth it. I think it's valuable. All right. During the ceremony this afternoon, you have seen and heard much about the importance and significance of this site, as well as its many past and present supporters. The preservation, enhancement, and promotion of this place is perhaps now more important than ever. It is important as a place for the education of our citizens to the great legacy of our country's founding, not only for we Americans, but for the world. Further, it is a testament to all the people who settled here or were brought here. Their hard work, perseverance, sacrifice, and suffering have all contributed to the founding of this great nation. But we owe a particular debt of gratitude to men like Thomas Heyward Jr. and the others of the ardently patriotic Utah District. Because of their incredible sacrifice and courage, we sit here today. With a renewed vigor and a dedication, on this, the 3rd day of May in the year 2025, we commit to ensuring that this special place will serve as a valuable educational resource for generations to come. Let us work together to make sure that this special historic asset, the tomb of Thomas Heyward Jr., an Old House Plantation on National Register site, realizes its full potential as a beacon of history and inspiration for years to come. Thank you for coming and your support, and safe travels home. Good night. By the way, we will be around for tours and questions and anything like that. Oh, and we have coins. We are starting a coinage series, and Kathy has a basket. We'd like for each one of you to take one of those coins home. This will be the start of a series, and that's our parting gift to you and memorabilia from this dedication. Thank you.